Welcome to the Great Canadian Comeback, where we break down the stories, trends, and shifts happening across Canada and the moves people are making to stay ahead of what's coming next. Welcome to an episode of the Great Canadian Comeback, and this is a podcast that's going to be about Canada and where exactly is Canada at, what's happening right now in the atmosphere, what's happening in the marketplaces, what's happening across Canada, where are we on the global stage, where are we in the economy, and what exactly is happening. So let's jump right in. Right now, we're in July of the summer of 2026, and we want to look at why Canada feels down right now. What exactly is happening? Well, let's do a little bit of recap. I'm a big sports guy, so let's look at where sports has been at this year. If we look at the beginning of the year, basically 2026, we saw basically the Canadian ice hockey team get back to the Olympics. I'm very happy with that. There's finally high caliber ice hockey happening in the Winter Olympics again, and Team Canada participated, and they had an absolute insane roster, just stacked superstars from top to bottom, and we looked fantastic on paper, and we definitely looked fantastic in the tournament until the final game. What happened in the final game? A lot of you guys know, obviously, we lost to Team USA in the final in overtime, which was pretty devastating for me, for sure. I play ice hockey. I'm Canadian. I love ice hockey, and that was a pretty rough one. Even though we dominated the game, at the end of the day, they beat us in overtime. They won the gold medal, and Canada finished silver. And that was the men's hockey team. Similar thing happened to the women's hockey team. They lost as well, and they came second. And also in the Paralympics, the teams also lost and came second. So the U.S. swept the golds in ice hockey, which is kind of unheard of. That was one big devastating loss for, I'd say, Canada as a whole. We're a big ice hockey nation, and it's one of our main sports. Every kid's grown up playing it, whether it's on the street, on the ice, roller, whatever it may be. Ice hockey is just in our blood here in Canada. So that was a pretty devastating loss. So that happened at the beginning of the year. Right now we're in July, and it's actually FIFA time. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, and we're one of the host cities that had 3 games. One of our last games just happened a couple of days ago, and Canada was eliminated in the round of 16, which, from a Soccer Canada perspective, it was quite a success. So Canada made it pretty deep, round of 16, eliminated. They actually went into the round of 32, beat South Africa and advanced. A lot of firsts happened for Team Canada. They had their first win ever in FIFA. They scored. They played on Canadian soil. They won their first knockout round, which was against South Africa, so they advanced. So a lot of firsts happened. It was quite exciting, especially just being here. Canadian games were happening here. A lot of people were pumped. It was an exciting atmosphere. It was great. So, on the Team Canada soccer side, we lost, but from a lot of people's standpoints, it was a success because the team looks good, Soccer Canada looks good, and things are pretty bright and looking pretty good moving forward. But where is Canada at right now? Where a lot of people are still saying, okay, things don't look too good. Well, there's a lot of things looming right now. The economy isn't exactly doing too good. It's had a little rough ride here for the last couple of years. A recession was just announced. They called it a technical recession. I don't know what the difference between a technical recession and a regular recession is, but at the end of the day, a recession was announced there for the first quarter of 2026. So what exactly is going to happen moving forward? There's a lot of things that are unanswered right now, like the trade agreement with the U.S., the the NAFTA or whatever it's called now. They changed the name of it, like the North American. It's a different trade agreement, but basically it's Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. So that's looming right now and hasn't been completely set up. So hopefully that will get set up. And there's a few other things that are just kind of lingering, and a lot of people are feeling a little bit down on Canada, and it's not bringing in as much international investment. A lot of people around the world are a little bit more, I'd say, bearish on Canada, not really investing as much. Me personally, I'm in the real estate market here in Vancouver, and it's probably one of the worst real estate markets we've seen in a very long time. So we just got actually a bailout coming in. I think they're working out the terms of that, but basically Carney and the Liberal government, along with the NDP provincial government here, are putting together a $1.8 billion bailout to buy a lot of these unsold condos from developers. So let's see how that kind of happens. But, there's a few things that are kind of forming in terms of why Canada seems down, but where is the opportunity? So what's kind of happening opportunity wise, and what's happening moving forward? Well, the great thing is there's a lot of optimism down the road in terms of what's going to happen in Canada. There's a lot of, I'd say, a lot of red tapes being cut. We're going back to, unleashing some of our natural resources. A lot of things are going back into investments in like pipelines, investments in LNG pipelines. We're one of the biggest countries in the world, like geographically wise, and we have a ton of natural resources, tons of minerals and things like that. And for some reason over the last few years, we've gotten away from investing in our own, I'd say, natural resources. But the great thing is a lot of things are changing right now, and there's going to be a lot of investment that's happening in those sectors, which is going to be huge because there's going to be a lot of, there's definitely going to be quite a bit of investments coming in. A lot of international people are wanting to invest. So as this progresses, which has kind of happened, I think, over the last maybe year to 6 months, this is definitely going to progress over the next little bit. And there's going to be a lot of investment coming into Canada as we cut a lot more red tape, as we make it easier for people to invest in these types of things that will help the country move forward. And where does Vancouver play in all of this? Like me being in Vancouver, again, like why does Vancouver matter on the Canadian landscape? For one, real estate's huge here. It's massive industry here, and the reason being is probably the climate. It's the climate here, based on all of the rest of Canada, is the most mild. We hardly ever get snow. If we do get snow, it might be a couple of days out of the year, and the city goes into complete chaos because most people aren't used to snow here. We're used to rain. We're used to a lot of rain, but not snow. And like being that one city in Canada, because of the climate, like a lot of people want to live out here. It's absolutely beautiful. If you've never been to Vancouver, check it out. It's beautiful out here. We got the mountains. We got a beautiful ocean. It's one of the cities where you can basically ski and golf the next day. Like it's, and I've actually done that myself. I snowboarded one day, and the next day I was on the golf course. So it was, it's one of those things where you're like, wow, like it's one of those cities in the world that you can. It's just amazing, like climate wise and safety wise, and a lot of different reasons. I've been to a lot of different cities across North America and across Europe, but I live in downtown Vancouver, and living here is like one of the most amazing things ever because it's a huge residential hub. It's one of the rare cities in the world where a lot of people live and work. So Vancouver does matter in a lot of different aspects, not just on the real estate side of things. We're big into mining. There's a lot of mining that happens here, forestry, tons of forestry that happens here. So we do contribute quite huge to the economy. So we need Vancouver to be really roaring for Canada to kind of kick going, right? And real estate investing is a big thing out here. There's a lot of different rules and regulations in place that are hindering a lot of real estate investments. And I think once some of these rules are cut, some of these regulations are rolled back, it's going to make it a lot easier for people to get back into investing in real estate. Just Vancouver alone, just being one of those hubs internationally and as a whole in Canada, like a lot of Canadians do want to live out here and find it quite expensive to be out here. So if real estate investing becomes a lot easier, we could probably offer a lot more, I say, affordable houses, a lot of different aspects for real estate investing, a lot of ways for individuals to move here, to work here, to find life a little bit more affordable and find things that will be a lot more helpful. So that's why like real estate investing is a big key playing aspect of the economy and bringing Canada back, like a huge comeback with the real estate investing sector and things like that. Like it's a big play in terms of what is going to be happening in the future. Me personally, I'm in real estate, so real estate investing is a big part of what I do and what I talk about. So I'm watching quite a bit about what's kind of happening in the real estate investing side of things. So it's going to be something that I focus on in terms of what regulations, what rules are in play right now that are either helping people invest in real estate or what's kind of hindering people from investing in real estate. And that's kind of one of the big things that excites me, because one of the big comebacks I see right now, there's already been some stats coming out in terms of more sales happening, more people getting back into the real estate market, more transactions starting to happen. So it's an exciting time right now, I would say, in terms of real estate in Vancouver. But again, the theme of this podcast is all about the Great Canadian Comeback. And why we're talking about a comeback is sometimes you got to hit rock bottom. And when you get hit pretty hard and you hit rock bottom, there's only one way from there. You can't go any lower. It's only coming up from there. And I think that's what Canada's seen over the last little bit. We've definitely been rocked in many aspects. We've been rocked in sports, what I talked about earlier, and our economy is in a recession. One of the only countries in the G7 that's actually in a recession. And but there's a lot of factors in place for us to be at this kind of rock bottom stage. And it's only up from here. And there's a lot of excitement brewing in terms of what's going to happen moving forward. Just natural resource investing alone, like untapping some of these massive pipelines, tapping into our oil industry, tapping into our LNG, forestry, things like that is going to be huge. Again, we're one of the biggest geographic countries out there, so we need to utilize what our stronghold is like areas like that. And with that, it's going to be coming a lot of investment and also a lot of people. There's going to be a ton of skilled workers, immigration, things like that, putting Canadians to work. And what happens then is like money starts flowing in the economy. And when money starts flowing, real estate picks up. People want to be buying houses or upgrading their house or renovating and things like that. So once capital starts flowing in those directions, like the real estate economy and marketplace starts to pick up regardless, because of like other factors in place. So there's a lot of excitement that's kind of happening out there in terms of what's down the horizon in the future. And we're going to be going through that in this podcast. What I'm going to be covering basically weekly is some of the exciting points of what's happening in Canada, some of the news developments, some of the great, I would say, deals that are being made by our government with other countries and things like that. And we're going to be looking at it through the lens of how this is going to help the Great Canadian Comeback. What's exactly going to happen? How is this going to affect many different aspects of the Canadian culture, and not just the economy, like a lot of different factors, like the sports. Again, like like I'm a big sports guy. I play ice hockey. I play a bunch of different sports. I'm born and raised here in Canada, like out here in Vancouver. I've been on the West Coast my whole life. Northwest is, the what is in my blood. I do all these types of things, like I snowboard and things like that. And yeah, like, and now I have a family, and like I want to see Canada succeed. I want to see them thrive and grow, and this is what we're gonna be covering in this podcast, is basically how and what is happening in the marketplace, what's happening in the economy, and how is Canada going to benefit? How are we going to grow? What's going to be happening down the pipeline? And is it going to be something that's going to be massively beneficial? What's going to kind of happen in terms of some of the spins that are out there in I'd say the news media and stuff like that? Is it something that they're spinning in a way that is going to be beneficial? Is it going to be something that is going to work well? So we got to look at things from all sorts of aspects. And that's basically what this podcast is going to be about. The Great Canadian Comeback is going to cover all sorts of different areas about why it's important to, look forward about where things are heading in Canada and why things look very exciting. So I hope you guys tune in weekly, be a part of this journey, and watch and learn. And it's going to be an exciting time because Canada is going to explode over the next little bit. And the question is, how can you get involved? What exactly can you possibly do to get involved with this massive excitement that's building around what's going to happen with Canada? Like, how do you get involved? Like when you see somebody starting to win, when things are starting to like brew at the beginning, and they're putting things together and they're going to inevitably win, then how do you get involved? What can you possibly do? And this is what we're going to be going through in this podcast, is how can you position yourself to be a part of this win that's going to be coming with this Great Canadian Comeback. And that's something we're going to be going through in this podcast. So join me along with this journey. If you are looking to get any information or resources about what to do and how to get involved, you could check out my personal website, kevinbratch.com. Check it out. I got a ton of different resources I'm going to be putting out there. A lot of it is free, so take a look and check it out, because I want to be involved with winning. I want to be involved with other winners. And the great thing is when we work together in a scenario like this, when Canada's coming back and is building, and there's a lot of momentum building, like how do we all take part? How do we all succeed in this endeavor? So this is the Great Canadian Comeback, and stay tuned for some more exciting episodes. And it's going to be great to have you guys along with this journey as we see where Canada is going to go in the future. Thanks for listening to the Great Canadian Comeback. Follow the show for more episodes and check the links in the description for more information. We'll see you next time.